Looking crazy, right? Let me see.
No, it looks good.
It is my artistic look. When you're ready.
All right. So we're gonna do some. I'm gonna stand up for some, and then I'm gonna sit down. So it's not just one shot that we're looking at. Okay, I'm ready. And go.
Hey, how you doing, family? I'm Andre Tinney, master loctician, as some may know, and some is about to know. Um,
Do it.
I've been a, I've been in this,
I've been a loctician.
I've been a loctician for 15 years. Um, how I got into the business was I was inspired by my brother-in-law, one, and another way I was inspired was that, every time I went to a barber shop, I wasn't pleased. So then I bought a pair of clippers and I started cutting myself. And of course, there was a lot of errors that was made, and a lot of my friends were, little did they know they were a guinea pig, but you know, I meant well. But and as I started doing it, cutting myself, I had friends and strangers came up to me and they were like, "Hey, who cut your hair?" And I was like, "Yeah, I did." Some of them didn't believe me, and based on that, I ended up having a clientele base, because after I cut them, they realized that I was good at what I did. So of course, we all it's like what do you want to be? You want to be a pilot? You want to do this, da da da. And my thing was I wanted to get into law or psychology. And one day I was sitting down with my brother-in-law, Ched, and we were talking. He said one day he wants to open up a flower shop in Manhattan, which he did. And he said, "What was it you would like to do?" And I was like, "Well, I would like to be getting to psychology and do law." And he's like, "Yeah, but what do you like to do now?" I said, "Well, I enjoy doing hair." And he was like, "Well," excuse me. He was like, "Well, if you're really serious about that, you pursue it, and I will, give you some assistance. You find a school and da da da." And he gave me the assistance, and I found a school, and I never looked back. I started off cutting. It was really cool, and before I started doing all the cutting and so forth, I was pretty artistic. So I was painting and like building things. Helped my dad constructing and carpentry and so forth. So I guess in a sense I had a little bit of artistic gift in my upbringing. But so I got into cutting and so forth. I went to Atlas, and then I went to American Barber Institute. Why I went to two schools? Because I was dissatisfied from what I learned from the first school. I didn't felt I learned enough, so I was displeased and I wanted to learn more. So as I felt comfortable from there, I started working and so forth and cutting. Now, one of the things I love about cutting is like a canopy. So each client was like an empty canvas, and I just paint and did my craft and did my masterpiece on that. But what I find that was a problem was that after a week or two, it grew back and my canopy was empty again, and I had to redo it. So that's when I stumbled into the natural world of doing natural hair care. Um, you know, Natural hair care, locks, and so forth. And I started, I was self-taught. I started looking, and I started buying tapes and attending some classes and so forth. And I was, my spirit took me to Kamid Kinks, and they were, of course, a little bit more internationally known on that craft, which inspired me. And as I started learning to do so, I developed my skill and developed a long clientele base. What I enjoyed about doing natural hair, it was also like a canopy doing locks. But what I like about doing locks is that, you start the hair as like having a little child from birth, and then you have to nurture it and give it a little bit of milk, make sure it have its protein, make sure it have its vitamins, make sure it have its proper water, and watch it flourish into something beautiful. So in a sense, that was my canopy, because the average person that keep their locks before they decide to cut them or cut them and go back to them is about 5 years. So then I get to watch that canopy hang up on a wall or hang up on the president's office, and and everybody pass by and be like, wow, that's art right there. I can see a lot of love and a lot of time was put into that. So that's what I loved about doing locks, and just the creativity of just, like I just funky up my hair right now because I just thought it'd be something that would give a nice little artistic flow, like, but that's just my silly personality. But this is like some of the things that I just do, and one of the things that I also feel that it's a gift is that when I do my craft, my work, my job, I take it very seriously. I'm a perfectionist, but I also I don't have a chart. I don't have a book that I will look at. I'll just look at you, and I'll start creating, and it'll come out to a masterpiece. As my client would say. Um, I was I was brought up in Guyana, South America, and I came over here when I was 13. And I think, what influenced me when I was younger, growing up in Guyana, was my mom, because she was crafty also. She did arts and crafts. She did straw bags and crocheting and so forth. And she was also she was good at baking. And when she baked, she used to bake these plat breads, and I loved the plat breads. So I used to bake my little mini plat breads also, and bake it. I'm a little upset at her now because she told me later on that she used to take out my perfect plat bread that I used to roll on the floor. It had all the dirt on it the way how I want it, and bake it. And she used to throw it away and put another one, which was a little disheartening for me because that wasn't my bread I made. But I understood now that it wasn't sanitary. But so that's what got me into the business. What keeps me into the business is that I feel that it's a blessing because I've been doing this, like I said, for 15 years going on, and it has enabled me to provide for my family, enabled me to purchase a house, and put me in a pedestal that where I can help my father and still even help some of my friends. I even had a friend the other day, and doesn't have anything to do with it, but I had another friend, and he had problems. He didn't had money to get a pair of glasses, and I went and took him and gave him $300 to get a pair of glasses. And if I have it like that, that's the way I am. What I feel that clients come to me for, and what they gain from coming to me and keep coming back to me, is one, my experience. Two, I think they get a psychological comfort from just the way how I am, because one, I'm a perfectionist. So you may come and get your hair done, and you may like it, and if it's displeasing to me and it's not 100%, I'm gonna take it out. You might be upset, but the ending result will be beautiful, and we're gonna be on the same page. So that's what I look for, the ending result. There might be some distortion, we might not agree, but in the end, you're gonna look beautiful, and I'm gonna feel beautiful making you beautiful. And what makes my craft unique and makes my clients keep coming back to me, because there's many clients out there, many stylists that do what I do, but what I feel that makes mine triumphant from all is my care. I put 100% into what I do in reference to the hair care, in reference to the hair being healthy, in reference to the scalp being damaged, and in reference to it being styled, and even in reference to that person being spiritually balanced with themselves. Because when I do my clients and they sit in my chair, it's like I become one with them, on a mental, spiritual, and mental, spirit, and body. I become one. I do the hair. I will talk to you. If you come into my chair, and some people may come into the chair and they be like, I need to get my hair done. Another person will come into my chair and like, Zjrekee, I need to talk to you. Then another person may come into my hair and they may just be very slum. They may have a bad day. And what makes me feel really good at the end of the day, that within all those three things, guaranteed, when they leave, all of them will be content and all of them will be happy, because that's what I deliver. It's a 100% care all around. I'm a great listener, and I'm a perfectionist. you know, and I think that's what keeps me into the business, because it's also tranquil for me too, because sometimes I might load my problem on them, like, man, you know what happened? Ah, man, I had this, that, and that, and that, and you know, and it's good to sometimes just have somebody there to listen. Although I do mostly the listening and you know and the advice, but sometimes you know it's great to have someone that's there that you can really look to for just a word of advice, a word of truthful, honest advice. And that's the other thing with myself. I can't lie well, so for the most part, you may get the blatant truth. It might be about your hair, it might be about your clothes, it might be about something, you know, and that's just the way I am. I even had a client that where I kind of had to step out of my place of just doing his hair and kind of like, it was a grown man, and tell him that he had an hygienic problem, you know, and I took him to the side, and it was a little uncomfortable for me because I wouldn't want another man coming to tell me about, you know, my hygiene, you know, and you know, granted, he still came back to me thereafter. He doesn't come to me anymore, but he came back to me after for like another year or so. And he never said thank you, but that was gratifying enough that after I spoke to him, he didn't feel insulted or my approach wasn't, you know, harsh. But it did change, and he didn't have that problem anymore. So that was gratifying to me that he didn't have to say thank you, but there was a good ending result. You know, ultimately, you know, every stylist wants to get their own ownership, their own salon, and what have you. And
And on three, two, one.
every stylist wants to have ownership one day, own their own salon, and so forth. I have owned my own salon before. About 6 years ago, I had a partnership. Great experience, which, you know, like every business, it has its learning experience and so forth. And what I had learned from the business is that, you know, you have to do a lot of research in reference to knowing the business in a management aspect. And definitely I have went through that pasture and come to a point of my life that where, you know, when my place is open, Dre Locks has been open, you know, it'll be beautiful. And what I feel, that'll be like a pedestal of my growth, and hopefully that can become a point that where I can transcend that and be an inspiration for others, for my kids, you know, to do the same thing, where I would be able to help people to get jobs, and you know, and they'll be able to flourish from that. Um, you know, I wanted to be an icon when I'm gone. I want to be remembered not for the things that I've done, but what the people that I've done them for. You know, and like I said, you know, I feel like I'm blessed that where I'm able to just help my loved ones and keep helping my loved ones and doing what I'm doing and still healthy doing it. Um, you know, if you guys, you know, are interested in being blessed with my craft, you can reach me at andretini.com at my website, or you can email me at atini@hotmail.com. Thank you. Peace out.
You want to put the phone? You didn't get your phone number.
Nah, I think the phone is whack. I was thinking they could do research. But you had any questions? You didn't ask me any questions.
No, you went.
The other one was better, man. This one here was kind of mumbo jumbo.
And like mess with your head.
Funkadelic dude. See, look. Let me show you quickly. I could do my craft. Right? Or you can quickly just do a style. If you want to.
Say that again, quickly do a style.
Yeah. I'm saying that you could. Probably. I said that if you quickly want to do a style, like, this is me, man. I could just do anything to my hair and just make it flow. You know, this would just be like the party though, you know, just, you know, you could just do something like this. You could just rock something like that. I've been doing this for years, so it's just simple. You can just rock something like that. This would be like something for the gym, you know. But there's many stuff you can do, man. I mean, but I had my locks for 12 years, you know, and the other thing I like about locks, it's the spiritual. It has a spiritual connection between your hair and your being. And what I also love about locks, it gives you a transition through time. As your hair is this short, and then it gets this long, then 6 months pass, and then it gets this long, a year has passed. And then when it gets to this length, when it's like by your shoulders, it's about 2 years has passed. Once it reaches beyond your shoulders, you got like about 4 to 5 years. So, you know, if you're a person that where you don't know, you feel time is passing you by, that's a good way to just keep track of time. And you're like, damn, my hair is this long, I need to do this, I need to do that. You know, so that's one of the things that I love about locks, is that it's a spiritual connection. You had like this peace, this oneness that you find with yourself, just being natural, the way how you were born. You know, they said that, you know, they said that Jesus, you know, his hair was like mane, you know, like wool, you know, and I think what they were describing is, you know, it's in its natural form, because our hair feels like wool, you know, when we have the locks and so forth, you know. Even when they showed a picture of Jah, you know, all of us have our different gods, but if you look at their hair, they all have the same entity of the hair, elongated, curly, or they would put their own little emphasis on it being curly, but it's all wool. It's all like a mane, like a lion, you know. So those are the things that I've experienced from just doing hair, having locks, and so forth, and just meeting positive people that also are sharing that experience. I feel though that locks is not for everyone, and I also feel that locks is not for a lifetime, but it's for a transition through time. And sometimes you may catch some people that may transcend with locks and cut it off, and then they're going to catch themselves doing a 360 and they start right back up. One of the things that I realized with locks, it's kind of like when people say once you go black, you never go back. Once you go lock, you never turn back. You know, you'll turn back. But once you go lock, you'll always turn back, you know, and get it again and again, because it just never leaves you. And I've seen people where I've cut their locks before and they're totally lost. They don't know what to do with their hair, this and that, and they do all these different things, and they go right back and lock their hair back up again. And if they don't lock their hair up, they have a style that's free enough that gives them that feeling that it's locked still. So it's like a free hairstyle or a free full hair, you know, where they're not doing a lot to it, and that gives them some type of contentment that they're still like in a lock form. Yeah, that's it, man. You know, I'm crazy personality, wild, I love traveling, you know, the party and all them things, you know. It's a crazy dude. So I think you gotta be a little crazy to deal with people in my craft and position, you know. So, or you have to understand what crazy is to give an advice to how to be tame. So, but yeah, I don't know what else to say.
Cool. Yeah, thanks,
Thank you, man, and one love. I want to see it, man.